And there's Caitlin Clark. She is in the building tonight. She is out of tonight's game. She did work out with the team yesterday, or early morning today in the shoot-around. Looking good, but what was impressive about Caitlin, and we said this for 2 years, she knows people came here to see her. She came out, went up in the stands, both sides of the arena, and stood and signed autographs. We got pictures of it. We'll show you later.
Yeah, talking about understanding the assignment, that's Caitlin Clark all day.
Imagine being the home team in your own arena and still playing second fiddle to someone who didn't even suit up. That's exactly what happened to the Dallas Wings. Caitlin Clark was in town, not playing, just doing shoot-around, signing autographs, smiling at fans, and somehow she stole the entire show. But let's be real here. That wasn't an accident. The Wings knew exactly what they were doing. They used Caitlin Clark's name, her fame, her presence to sell those tickets, to draw those crowds, because their own players couldn't. Let's break this down. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever roll into Dallas, and right away, before the game even starts, the entire vibe is off. The crowd, not dressed in Wings gear, not hyped for the home team. They're decked out in Caitlin Clark merch, Fever jerseys, Iowa hoodies. People flew in from out of state just to catch a glimpse. And guess what? She wasn't even playing. But that didn't matter. She was out there pregame, casually getting shots up. And the arena was lit like it was the NBA Finals. People were clapping during warm-ups. The moment wasn't about basketball. It was about her. Here's where we get real. Now let's be honest for a second. The Wings knew this would happen. They leaned into it. They used Caitlin Clark's name to promote this game. They wanted her to be the draw. Because their own team just doesn't have that kind of pull. They knew Caitlin Clark sells tickets. She sells out arenas. She brings cameras, headlines, and fans who otherwise wouldn't care. And Dallas took full advantage of that. They cashed the check. They smiled when the seats filled up. But the moment Caitlin started soaking in all the love, signing autographs around the entire arena, getting more cheers than the home team, suddenly they looked uncomfortable. You can't use her name to sell tickets and then act surprised when the show becomes all about her. That's not how this works. And then someone dropped a comment that just ended the conversation. This is the one. That's all the people want to see, Caitlin. They really don't care if the Fever win or not. Just like in high school or college, they came to see her and see her shoot three-pointers. Boom, that's it. That's not just a fan opinion. That's a statement of fact. That's what it's been like since day one. People showed up for Caitlin in high school. They filled entire arenas for her in college. And now, she's doing the exact same thing in the pros. She doesn't need a 30-point triple-double. She just needs to show up. That's why fans drove for hours. That's why kids were crying in the stands just for an autograph. And Dallas, y'all were just the building she walked into. You could feel the awkward energy the whole night. Even the Dallas announcers had to acknowledge it. They were trying to stay professional. Oh, wow. Caitlin's signing autographs around the arena. Great moment for the league. But deep down they were annoyed. Because it wasn't a Wings game. It was the Caitlin Clark Show, live from someone else's arena. And let's talk about those autographs. Caitlin Clark spent the entire night walking the perimeter of the lower bowl, signing hats, shirts, shoes, probably somebody's baby, and the crowd was hanging on her every move. Meanwhile, the Wings were actively playing a basketball game. Like, hello? The people didn't care. They didn't even look at the court. They were locked in on Caitlin. So if you're Dallas, how does that feel? You sell the tickets, you open your building, and the crowd turns into a visiting fan base for someone who didn't check in for a single minute. That's not a game. That's a takeover. And here's the real kicker. You know who benefits the most from this Caitlin effect? Not the Fever, not Caitlin. It's the other teams. Like Dallas. They profit off her fame. They promote her name. They jack up the prices when she's in town. And then when she gets all the attention, they act surprised? Miss me with that. Let's call it what it is. They're using her. They used her to sell out their arena, then tried to pretend like they were annoyed that she stole the spotlight. Bro, she didn't steal anything. You handed it to her. You put her face in the ads. You printed her name on the tickets. The Wings wanted the Caitlin Clark circus. They just didn't realize they'd be the clowns. Bring it home with a strong finish. This is the reality of the WNBA now. You can love it or hate it. You can whine about coverage or beg for parity. But the league runs through one name, Caitlin Clark. She's not just a rookie. She's a walking brand. She's the reason seats are filled. She's the reason casual fans are tuning in. And even when she doesn't play, she still dominates the moment. Dallas learned that the hard way. They sold out their arena, but they didn't own the night. Caitlin Clark did. So if you're going to use her name to sell your tickets, don't act shocked when she walks into your house and turns it into her own fan meetup. That's what superstars do.